Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Ha ha! I got Pappy Two Bears up on the screen. How did I do that? Well, that's all right. Hi, folks. Blessings to all of you. There you go. Ha ha! Anyway, folks, had a little trouble with StreamYard, but I finally got it cranked around so I can go live. I got on my thumbnail, we're here. No turning back. And Black Rock, Burning Man, dung hole. That's what it turned into, a dung hole, plus a lot of other stuff. I got a lot of stuff I want to talk about here this evening. As my old friend used to say, how y'all doing here this evening? Let me see who's all here. Hi, Damon. Hi, Diane. How you doing? Angel. Kicking Bird. Haha. Cliff. Ken. Nice to see you all. Susie. Pappy Two Bears. Whoa. Tucker Carlson has an interview with Obama brother. Yeah. I put that picture up of a tweet his brother Malik put up a long time ago with Obama in his Muslim garb, and he was saying, calling him a POS and everything else when he was a nobody. He always had his nose up in the air like he's better than everybody else. They say the real picture that's going to come out is him in a turban with pointing an AK, and the other half is 47. And they say the real thing that's going to be shocking about that picture, now this is rumor, is who he's pointing that at. They say it's going to be rather shocking. It could all be BS. I don't know. Hi, Awaken Trillium. How you doing? Karen, Tennessee. How you doing? Nikki, how you doing? So, Araceli, how are you? Kim, Finding Dory. Georgia, wow. Got my chats jumping around. MS Motorsports, how you doing? How many Debbies we got? We can't have too many. Bring all the Debbies. Ha ha ha. Rain Man. I'm a good driver. I'm a good driver. I remember Rain Man. Hi, Kate. How are you? Oh, Miss Mindersu said we're all gorgeous patriots. Good. Sissy, Henri, how are you? M's here. Oprah and Rock and Big Trouble, Karen said that's true. They're being exposed for being a bunch of losers and taking advantage of people. 13 BLT, how are you? With 13 on the end of that. So, hi, Robin. How are you? I got your message, Robin. I'm glad you're doing well, and I'm glad you could make it tonight. I didn't get a chance to respond to people that were putting stuff in the comments, but I do. Sometimes it takes me a couple of days, and I will respond with a heart, and I give you a thumbs up. Hi, Chris. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. Tucker's really going to be, anybody who wants to be anybody. After that Trump interview, they're going to go to Tucker Carlson. Forget 60 Minutes, okay? And of course, Barbara Wawa has passed away, but that was the ones people used to want to go to. Larry King, Barbara Walters, that's all that stuff's old hat now. Anybody who's anybody's going to want to talk to Tucker Carlson. He's trying to line up something with Putin, okay? He's done well with Trump. He's going to have Obama's brother up. So it's just going to be, like I said, forget the writer's strike. Forget the Hollywood strike. We're going to be seeing the greatest show on earth. Hollywood couldn't come up with a story like what we're going to see and what we already know about. But the thing about it is, don't let the black cats throw a bunch of crazy stuff in to dilute the message. The message is coming through strong that we have a corrupt, vicious bunch of people in power that are destroying our culture, destroying our civilization, and they're getting desperate because their power is being threatened. And they are facing, I think on my thumbnail, I'm going to put up as prescribed by law. They're going to be facing punishment, retribution, whatever you want to call it, not vengeance. That belongs to God. They're going to be facing retribution and punishment as prescribed by law if they're guilty of things to, remember this term, folks, you'll be hearing it in the future, to a level of moral certainty. Moral certainty. Not shadow of a doubt, reasonable doubt, whatever they've concocted now, but to a degree of moral certainty. So, yeah, that's what we're going to be seeing a lot of. Hi, Doug. Nice to meet you. We're the best group on YouTube. Ha, that's good to hear. I think we are too. Sassy Cat, how are you doing? Hi, Sherry. So, all right. Well, I tell you, I hope we do, and I mean it in a kind way. I hope we do find some people who are considering being former wokies, okay? Former woke people. Or people who are considering being woke. And still, if you still can't stand Donald Trump and you're tuned into this broadcast, please bear with me, stay with me, see what we have to say. And, if you want to discuss matters, I'm an open book. And I won't ever curse you or belittle you or anything. Now, your positions, I'm going to challenge them, but you're welcome to comment. All we ask is for a civil tongue. And there you have it. Hi, Jax, how are you doing? Nice to see you. So if there's anybody out there like that, I appreciate everybody's tuned in here this evening, and people who watch my broadcast afterwards. We'll have a certain number of people, but after the program, maybe another 1,000 will come in and check out what's going on. So you never know who's watching. But I saw something that I've spoken about in the past, last year, this year, a number of times, called the black letter of the law. And in some of the court filings with Big Fani from Cincinnati, that term was used, okay? The black letter of the law principle, as a matter of fact, was used. And that had to do with some of the filings by Fani and Company, Big Fani, are knowingly misleading. If they didn't know it when they filed it, they know it now. They're citing case law. I'll just go off track real quick to tell you the kind of stunts they're pulling. They're trying to say that since this one individual out of 19 has decided to exercise their constitutional right to a speedy trial, Fani Willis is trying to force the other defendants all into a speedy trial. That's going to get kicked out. There's already been an application to sever from this one speedy trial, sever the defendants, and actually it's two. Sidney Powell's another one, so it's two of them, and they're claiming, well, since they are insisting on a speedy trial, they're waiving their right to review the evidence, to get 10-day notice of evidence and all this kind of stuff, which is absolutely ridiculous. That's what happens when you get into novel theories of law. They aren't even theories. They're concocted garbage, much like a lot of things I'm going to go over. For people who don't like Trump and still want to hang on to this increasingly out of vogue notion that it's best to keep going the way we're going with Democrats and a woke society. I mean, if you haven't got your bell rung a little bit by now, hey, I'm gonna have to quote Deion Sanders: "We're here. We're not coming. We're done coming. We're here." Especially after that mugshot, he was given a pep talk, and Dan Scavino posted a short video of it. Hi, Lone Wolf, how you doing? If I missed anybody, I apologize. Hi, Mary. Let's see. I guess I hope I got it right. Anyway, so and anybody else that wanders in, but Deion Sanders was giving a pep talk, and he was saying, "Look," he said, "usually God gives me the words," he said, "but he's been kind of holding out on me." And he just started talking, and it turned out God did give him the words. Dan Scavino felt it was strong enough words to put in his Truth social feed. For all of us, this is halftime. This is a halftime pep talk, okay? He's talking about the opponent. Deion Sanders was saying it's not about them. We don't care about them. We don't care if they're not believers. That's exactly what he said. We don't care what they think. This is about us. This is about us, what we can do and what we know we can do. And the people next to you, the guy next to you, sitting next to you, the guy standing next to you, you got to know that they're serious people too, that they're winners. This is paraphrasing from him, that they fought from day one to get where we are right now. This is about us and what we know we can do. And we're not coming. We're not coming. We're here. We're here. And the teammates just all started saying, "We're here. We're here." Well, that's where we are, folks. We're here. And there ain't nothing they can do about it. And we're not going anywhere. And our numbers are growing. I could play an hour long, especially if nobody had objections to language. I could play Instagram video, TikTok video, YouTube shorts. I could play Facebook posts over and over and over again. People that are saying, "I get it. I wasn't for Trump, but now I get it." And the exciting thing is that they've opened a door in their mind to a whole new world. They're going to be interested in finding out what's going on. They're going to be hearing about stuff they've never heard about. That's why I'm saying our end of the deal is not to fall for bright, shiny things. And be careful who you follow. Don't repeat things unless you know it to be factual. Don't get into flights of fantasy. Don't get into magical thinking. Don't get into talking about things that you cannot prove or disprove. Keep those things close to your chest. The big picture items, okay? The stuff we know about human trafficking, the stuff we know about mainstream media starting to report on all the billions of dollars that are unaccounted for missing in Ukraine. Okay? They're having to report on the business dealings of the Biden family. Everybody's on pins and needles about what is this tape that was talked about on Newsmax, either a videotape of Biden or an audio tape. I had a little communication with a friend of mine over that. I'll read it to you here in a minute. Let me just check the chats. Yes, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and share. I got a notification up here. All right. Pappy Two Bears helped out with Buy Me a Coffee. I have a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description if anybody wants to help the channel out. I don't get any monetization from any platforms I'm on except viewer supported and creator supported only. Thank you, Pappy Two Bears, so much. Hi, Angel. How are you? Dottie, how are you? A Google account. How are you doing? So, Tennessee, let's see. Did they make a song about Fanny? Well, Fanny, round and round. Fat Fanny, when she falls, she can't get off the ground. I'm sure they've been making up some rap songs about Trump that are funny. And the thing is, Trump has got such a perfect personality and facial expressions for memes. I mean, they put him on Il Donato, Trumpo, and all these things, and the spirit is up, even with the serious face with the mugshot. It's something people can relate to, and it gives people a good feeling. That mugshot mania is going to go on. You talk about a half-life, three-quarter life. That is going to go on for a long time. That is going to be an iconic picture because that's the look you get on your face you want to give when somebody's giving you an unfair ticket, okay? Or somebody is a code enforcement person's out in your front yard with a measuring tape measuring your grass. Things like that. That's the kind of look you want to give. And he's giving them the look we want to be giving to people who are not treating other people fairly. And hey, we're here. We're here. We're not going anywhere. Hi, Carol. Oh, Jill, she does she? Poor Jill. Well, she's a doctor. She should be able to take care of that. Hi, Doug. Hi, Larry. And Norm, I want to thank you, Norm, whenever you're listening. He, the other night, came in out of the blue and helped out with Buy Me a Coffee. That was nice of you, Norm. I appreciate it. And let's see. So anyway, the black letter law, Fani Willis, she's got a tiger by the tail. And she's just now finding that out. And a lot of the discussion on the talk channels, quote, talk channels on Bumble and other places were what Newt Gingrich had told everybody, that he heard from a very good source, that the White House, okay, called somebody directly affiliated, okay, called and told them, you charge him today. You put out the indictment today. Excuse me while I have a sip of my coffee. And they said, well, we can't. I mean, no, you didn't hear us. You put it out today. Something had them wanting a counter message out as fast as possible to dry up the news cycle. Maybe that is what put a delay on what Sidney Powell said she was going to be filing, the biblical paperwork that she was going to be filing. What did I just put on the screen? Hit my thumb by accident. Let's see. Oh, okay, Larry Pitts. Hey, Nikki, pray for you and your daughter are doing well. Okay. Yes, same here. And let's see. I'm trying to handle the phone with one hand, pick up my notepad with another. Sometimes I don't take any notes. I just got a little fire going on. I get on and start babbling. Hi, Albert. How are you doing? Haha, that's right. That is a theme I was going to bring up, paganism, because I was bringing up this DNC White House call to that Newt Gingrich was talking about, compelling them to charge Trump right away. Well, what came of that? I'll tell you what came of it. They screwed up and put the indictment out too soon while the grand jury was still seated. Okay. And the clerk, whether it was on purpose or by accident, cemented the criminality in the court record, okay, by hitting that send button instead of save. So, who had their fingers in that? Well, Donna Brazil's been on the news station. She might have been one of them. She gave the answers to Joe during the presidential debate with Trump. She got involved with the DNC server and handling the so-called investigation by the FBI. She's married to Muriel Bowser. She's married to Muriel Bowser, the mayor of D.C., who was exhorting people, inciting people to go on the White House grounds when they tried to burn down the St. John's Church, actually set it alight. And that famous picture of Trump holding the Bible up came to be. So, yeah, she's in it elbow deep. I don't know if she's in on the ordering Fani to put the stuff out now, but she was on one of the news programs with pink hair, okay? And you could tell she's had some kind of work done. I don't know if it's makeup work or face stretching or what she's had done. Liposuction, I don't know. But anyway, she was on there talking about this is a movement. And that's another thing. The two things I saw Scavino post today was that pep talk by Deion Sanders and this statement by Donna Brazil that Trump was a movement they had to take seriously. And it's picking up steam, okay? Picking up steam big time. It's breaking into new territory. If it were a business, it would be, they would call it gaining market share, chunks, huge chunks of market share. And anyway, I call at the time, I said, you know, these pink-haired pagans, and just what, let me see, just like Alberta said, paganism. And what did I say the night before last? Somebody came in about the Black Rock thing, the Burning Man. And I didn't know what was going on. I've been preparing for our broadcast, was in the middle of our broadcast. The last thing I heard about the Black Rock Burning Man situation was the roadblock that got busted up by a tribal ranger. And I said, I don't care what happens to that bunch of heathens. I don't care what happens to a bunch of paganists. They'll get what's theirs, either in this life or the next. I didn't care. And I just took a little bit of note and laughed at the situation. You don't want to see people get hurt. But yeah, they can roll around in their own dung, okay? And whatever else they are happening to excrete out of whatever, okay? Roll around in it and live with it. The only thing I don't like is that Biden right away supposedly sent FEMA down there, our tax dollars. Hey, your stupidity should not be my emergency, okay? Your stupidity should not be my emergency. So right away, the rumors came out that Ebola had broken out, that somebody did pass away. But out of 70-some thousand people, a lot of them are old burnout hippies, you know, that probably don't have a lot of time on the clock anyway. Used every drug known to man that they happen to cork off during this particular time. You know, doesn't mean it was a cause of it. So anyway, last I heard is they've got a big old caravan trying to get out. that stuff will dry up fairly quickly. But if you ever worked with mortar or cement, it does have a high acidic value to it. And who knows what kind of dormant microbes or whatever is out there in that spot, because, they've been going there for a number of years, pulling off their little ritual. And if you figure what kind of person's going to be out there, well, it'd have to be somebody functioning financially at a level where they can afford a rental camper or a vehicle that can get them out there. They got to be able to have the time off work. They've got to be able to have the money to feed themselves and take care of themselves, pay for the gas, whatever. I'm thinking it's all a bunch of bureaucrats, okay? Either retired or whatever, and some meth heads hitching a ride to go along. So they said there were a lot of wealthy people out there. They're the ones getting the first rides out. Chris Rock copped a ride after walking 5 miles, they say. So I'm thinking, hey, the modern day American bureaucracy is just like any other bureaucracy throughout history. Corrupt bureaucracy. They have effectively no real boss. They come and go as they pretty much please. Certain percentage of them, they get the conservative, hardworking people to they maintain them in positions to keep the actual wheels turning in whatever agency it is. They keep them in a peony position, okay, a peon position. And then all the losers, all the purple-haired, nose ring, counterculture freaks, they fail upwards in the bureaucracy. So you have people that have excellent benefits, vacation time, time off, sick leave, maternity leave. My friend across the street died, so I'm going to take some time off. Whatever they could dream up every holiday. And their job in reality is to take such actions publicly and privately to maintain that bureaucracy. That's their job. That's their life. And they can afford to go act a fool in the middle of the desert. So I don't care. All right. I don't care what happens to them. I don't wish anything on anybody, but like I said, their stupidity does not become my emergency ever. So let me see. Hi, Mark. How are you doing? Judy, how are you doing? Christina, interesting tidbits. Carol, Fanny is a phony. That's right. Phony Fanny. Oh, Larry, you're having difficulty with the stream right now? Is my stream coming in rough? I hope it's coming in smooth. Hi, Yvonne. Garrett, how are you doing? Hi, Donna. Whoops, is my stream coming in good? My chat just disappeared and came back up. Miss Mendersu, how you doing? Pink-haired pagans. That's right, Georgia. That's what they are, hedonists and pagans. I got to get my dictionary out and take a picture of the definitions. I just said pagans and hedonists. Okay, that's what they are. And that's what Trump was alluding to when he said, we're going to be looking very strongly at this business of where the government cannot promote religion, because they're saying, well, if the church, Catholics and Christians, and they can't do this and that and be involved with the government. Well, they're wearing a uniform as far as I'm concerned. With Donna Brazil with her pink hair, anybody coming in there with 10 pounds of metal in their face, okay, and Kool-Aid hair, that's a uniform. And it is for no other reason but to alert people to their bedroom preferences. And that should be verboten, okay? Just like I couldn't come to a government job with a white collar on like a preacher, or somebody else couldn't come to a government job dressed like the flying nun, okay? You can't do that. Well, you can't be running around looking like you belong in Circus Olay. You have to dress like an average, normal human being, hair coloring that is natural and within reason, okay? Hi, Ann, how are you doing? Because anything else, they're promoting their bedroom preferences. And as far as schools go, I had one article from one video I watched from Sky News Australia. Let me see if I can pull that up. I've just seen if everybody's here. That's right, Larry. Absolutely no pride. It's nothing to be proud of. Okay. And I say we be done with that Pride Month business. Just be done with it. Okay. Just everybody can be proud of themselves for whatever they want to. They don't need to focus on just that garbage. And definitely keep it out of the schools. Okay. If you can't dress, if you want to look like some kind of, and I don't want to wear the word out, but the fact of the matter is, if you want to look like a pagan running around, you're not going to be around kids. Anyway, I'm still trying to look at this article, but it's $100,000 got awarded to a mother. Now, this is in Australia, where she found out they were, quote, transitioning her child. Here we go. Oh, it's California. It was reported on Sky News Australia, though. I thought it was in Australia. It says California mum, M-U-M. Kickenberg says, give them an inch, they take a mile. You're right, but I changed that to give them an inch, they take the whole road. A California mother has been awarded $100,000 from the California School District after teachers helped her daughter socially transition to act as a boy without parental consent. Well, what's one of the things that I notice in that verbiage that they choose? Socially transition, you say? No, it's S3-actual transition, okay? And the mother said, when you tell kids, hey, let's keep this a secret between you and me about this S3-actual behavior. You want to go to the black letter of the law? Want to talk about taking indecent liberties with a minor? You want to talk about lewd and lascivious conduct? Okay. All those things carry legal weight. And you talk to a child about such things and you say, well, it's social. This is social. No, it's not. It's talking about bedroom behavior, okay? That's my nice way of saying it for the trust and safety crowd, all right? And like Trump said, Agenda 47, when he gets in, they're going to be marching them out of the schools. And in some cases, worse than that. Namely, they're going to be charged. And that's just two things I mentioned. Indecent liberties, okay, and lewd and lascivious conduct. There's other things that can be applied depending on the situation. And I noticed another article that I was going to wait till I do a picture show, but I'll talk about it real quick right now. A lot of you know about this situation with this lawyer down in South Carolina who was what they call a family annihilator, okay? The Murdaugh. I don't think there's anyone in the crowd that hadn't heard of Alex Murdaugh. But I'll discuss it in more detail in a future broadcast, but I'll just give you the outline, and the outline is this. Prior to him doing what he did to his wife and his son, he got involved. His son got involved in a boat wreck where a young lady lost her life. And the parents of the young lady sued Alex Murdaugh and his wife for negligent parenting, okay? And they won, I believe, $30 million. So these people that are allowing, I was going to show the picture of the Loudoun County in Virginia was a famous case that happened over a year ago, where someone who socially transitioned from a boy to a girl committed some heinous acts. Let me say that, in a school bathroom, and the school district didn't do anything but transfer the student to another school where they repeated that action against another girl. Okay, you all know what I'm talking about. Well, these parents are suing the school district, and some people got fired over it. Well, that's well and good too. But there needs to be lawsuits against that parent for negligent parenting. There needs to be lawsuits against the, quote, counselors, okay? Against the, quote, therapists, against the, quote, doctors that prescribed anything, okay? Negligence, okay? And if they're too stupid to know that what they're doing to these young people is inherently dangerous and harmful, they need to pay the price. The courts need to find remedies for these parents who like the ones who were assaulted, in two different schools, but they also need to pay a price for their negligence. Let me see. Let me just check. Okay. Hi, David. How are you doing? Nice to see you. Yeah, March for the Children in Canada, Angel's saying. And Mr. T put out a video that he's going to be a champion for homeschooling. I tell you, I've drove by and seen a lot of counties and a lot of states have years ago put in programs to preserve the one-room schoolhouses in certain counties. And, you know, it was a lot simpler system. Kids were much better integrated as far as socializing. The big kids helped the little kids, you know, a much better system like we had now. So, yeah, Larry, great news from Mr. T. We're hearing a lot of it. A lot of great news from him. It's called Agenda 47. Yeah, interesting tidbits. We're not hearing much about Maui. And the thing is, this Burning Man thing, that's another thing I want to point out. Who cares about that bunch? Look what happened to those people. These people at the Burning Man thing are suffering the consequences of their own stupidity. The people in Maui didn't ask for anything to happen to them. And that is getting pushed off the pages. I could care less about them. And I hope that any assistance they get from FEMA, that they have to pay that back. Okay? Since when do we go around rescuing people and cleaning off their own puke off themselves at a keg party that got out of control? 10,000 homeschool kids. I tell you what. Well, let me tell you, B-Dog, that's great. And I'll tell you, that's the thing. If you can get mom, I tell you, when I was a kid, before I ever went first grade, kindergarten, anywhere, I knew my colors. I knew my basic numbers. I knew how to add. I knew how to tie my shoes. Who taught me that? My mom. Okay. And it's a lot of work being a good mom. A lot of work. And let's see, all you're doing is, it's not a real big deal. All you're doing is building a future civilization. So yeah, there should be something where the mother is compensating, and fathers did that back in the day. My father took care of my mother as far as making sure she had money she needed, money she wanted to help maintain the household. And he was the sole earner. But that was a culture ago. They changed that culture, especially in inner cities and black communities. Like I talked about before, the show Good Times. All right, JJ's dad was at work with a lunchbox because they had factories. Okay, I forget where the show was. I think it was maybe Chicago, but like in Michigan, the Motor City, you had factories. You had people punching a clock, and they took all that away. And how is somebody supposed to earn a dollar? So that has to be brought back. And of course, a man working a job, making enough money, is going to make sure his wife has enough money and flexibility to provide and maintain a good household to bring their children up in a healthy manner. But they destroyed all that. Now it has to be rebuilt. It has to be rebuilt. We're going to be rebuilding a new republic, a new society. Mr. T, in one of his talks, I wrote it down. He said it about a week ago, and I never brought it up. He said in the 1890s, we did so well. And then he kept talking about his other issues. That was one of the things he dropped in there that was odd. It was different. Well, you think about it. In the 1890s, we've talked a lot of times. What happened in the early 1900s? The Federal Reserve. The income tax. Okay? All that did was open the door for infiltration into our economy, where there was a pathway for Marxists, communists, whatever they want to call themselves, National Socialists, they're all the same suit, different bow tie. All it did was give them a pathway to your kitchen table where they had the power to take your bread off your table. Oh, they'd never do that. Yeah. Well, you look at what we've got in power now. They do things just because they can. Mark Markson, would you burn a trans book? No, I'd find out who the author was and have them arrested if they were giving them to little kids, just like any prawn book. A prawn book. if whoever was publishing and distributing that to minor children would be in custody and have a trial date. And I wouldn't burn the book. I'd show it to the jury for evidence. And if people in future generations need to see that stuff, do you know that however many years ago people actually thought that they could cut their reproductive organs off, and that would make them a different entity? That's right. Pappy Two Bears said, "Get thumbs up for Mountain Man." Ha ha. And support me by the coffee. That's a wonderful suggestion, Pappy Two Bears. I appreciate that. So no, Hitler couldn't burn Bibles. The one time Adolf got booed was when he annexed Austria, and he instituted, when he annexed Austria, he turned the country into a majority. The population shifted the majority into a Christian Catholic centric voter base. And he had instituted euthanasia for the, quote, useless eaters. And he stopped that program because when he went to Austria, that was the first time he was publicly booed. So no, he couldn't have afforded to be burning Bibles. He knew better than that. Now that's not to say later on, as he consolidated his power, he wouldn't have made Mein Kampf the new Bible. He was a suicidal, homicidal maniac, so he's history anyway. But anyway, I was thinking about that mugshot. Wouldn't it be great if we went back to our old monetary system? Do you know that we used to have, I thought to myself, well, if they redo the money, they ought to put Donald Trump's mugshot on a $1,000 bill. Bring back the $1,000 bill. And that got me thinking, well, how come we don't have a $1,000 bill anymore? Well, how come all we go up to 100? How you doing, Rick? And so I looked it up, and we had $500 bills, we had $1,000 bills, we had $5,000 bills, we had $10,000 bills, and don't you know, we even had, guess how much? A bill. This is the only one, though, that was a gold certificate. And I'll tell you which presidents were on those bills. But and when they stopped making them and stopped using them. But if you come across a $500 bill, it is still considered legal tender. Kicking birds at 100K. That's right. And for bonus points, who was on the $100,000 bill? Gold certificate. Now, the other bills were not gold certificates. They were Federal Reserve notes. Ain't that something? Whose picture was on the $100,000 bill? Don't Google it either. No cheating. Oh, you did? Dottie said, just got a message about a false. Use a 1 for an I in that word, Dottie. ASSASS, one nation. Because that's another key word. Yeah, we're going to get a lot of false alarms. Ian said Alfred E. Newman. He wasn't alive back then. It's a notorious president as far as our financial condition. I'm seeing. Oh, I don't see. No, Grant, I think I'll look him up here. I think he might have been on the $500 bill. Maybe. No, Grant's on the 50. Woodrow Wilson. Okay, I'll go ahead and answer. Woodrow Wilson, what's he notorious for? He's notorious for being president during the introduction of the 16th Amendment, which taxed us. He was a big socialist, a tremendous racist, and he got us into World War I. And he claimed that the income tax was temporary for the war effort and only for the very wealthy, and everybody fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. And there you have it. There you have it. And started the Federal Reserve, one of the worst presidents. In hindsight now, we know what we know that we've ever had. And here we go, the $500 bill. The Treasury minted several versions of a $500 bill featuring a portrait of William McKinley on the front. The $500 bill rolled off the presses in 1945, and it was formally discontinued 24 years later by Richard Nixon in 1969, they claim. But it is still legal tender. You can still use it to buy and sell. But to collectors, it's worth more than its face value. And I'll get into what the Consumer Price Index has done to these, the value of these bills, namely the value of our dollar. And then you realize what kind of distress our economy is going to be in. Let me tell you something that has not been talked about, and it's going to bust out in the news very soon. Now, this isn't like Phil Godlewski, okay? If you see soldiers, remember when I played that video? Don't say anything to them, you know. But you're going to be noticing a lot of soldiers here and there. No. We got to redo our debt ceiling, folks, or we're going to be facing a government shutdown. Remember the last shutdown that made big news was when Trump was in office? And he was tweeting at the time out to everybody on Christmas Eve. And just what was mentioned earlier, an attempt was made on him, a lot of people were saying, because Mr. T said, a lot of action going on at the White House. I've never seen so many guns in my life. And there was stories going around that a Marine had been, the Marines had been to some degree infiltrated, and there was an attempt on Mr. T at that time. Yeah, Wanda, he was more than a crappy president. He was, he lamented towards the end of his life that he felt he single-handedly destroyed the American ideal by passing the 16th Amendment, taxing individuals for their labor. But anyway, then real quick about the $1,000 bill. The $1,000 bill originally had Alexander Hamilton on it. And they realized it might be confusing to have the same face on multiple denominations. So it was replaced with the picture of Grover Cleveland. And I found this interesting because I said to myself before I started this little search that Mr. T's mugshot should be on the $1,000 bill. We need to introduce the $1,000 bill, especially since pickup trucks cost $100,000 now, right? That's a lot of little $100 bills to carry around. But anyway, he was the 22nd and the 24th president. There was a gap in there. He was the 22nd and the 24th president. I said, well, isn't that funny? I was thinking Trump would be a good $1,000 bill candidate, and he'd be the same way. He'd be the 45, okay, and 47. There would be a gap in between, not just one term, but a two-term gap. I mean, one-term gap, 46. Ha ha ha. Send currency samples. No, I do have a Kennedy 5 my mother saved for me. I showed a picture of that. It says United States note at the top. And it was minted and distributed just before his assassin and then the rest of his nation, right? It did not say Federal Reserve. Another reason. Doug said he's seen those kind of bills. Well, they all went out of circulation, was discontinued in '69. But they were still legal tender. The $5,000 bill was initially used to finance the Revolutionary War and was only officially printed by the government in a modern form when the Civil War began. The Civil War. It was initially issued during the Revolutionary War and then printed by the government with Civil War. It had a picture of James Madison on it. Again, Richard Nixon ordered that the bills be recalled in 1969 due to fear of money laundering. So the next one is a $10,000 bill. It had a picture of Salmon Chase on there. He ran against Abraham Lincoln to be president of the United States. I read about him when I read a book on Lincoln, Salmon Chase. He was served as Secretary of the Treasury under Abraham Lincoln and then became Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. As a matter of fact, he presided over the first impeachment ever, which was Andrew Johnson after the assassination of Lincoln. So, and then after that, of course, is a $100,000 bill, which is a gold certificate rather than a reserve note. And to finish up this business about kind of bills that we used to have, and who knows, Mr. T is going to change the monetary system. I played for you all a snippet of a news broadcast when Nixon took us off the gold standard and started the petrodollar. And I'll play that clip in the future. It happened just that fast, folks, in the snap of a finger. Okay, gold was gone and oil was in. So who's to say that Trump won't make some changes by executive order? And I've already just mentioned how Kennedy issued currency called United States notes rather than Federal Reserve. There were two things Kennedy vowed to destroy: the central bank's Federal Reserve and the C.I.A. Yeah, Wanda, tell them to hang on to that. You had some United States notes? Look at the dates on them. It was just before Kennedy got assassinated. Okay, so this article says, and like the $500 bill, the $1,000 bill would seem to have a lot more use now than it did then. Why? Inflation, of course. The Consumer Price Index, called the CPI, was estimated at 36.8 back in '69. As of January 2022, okay, well over a year ago, who knows what it is now, but it sat at 281.9, meaning a $1,000 bill today would be the equivalent of a relatively modest $130. So that shows you right there, folks. A $1,000 bill in 1969, okay, in today's money would only be worth $130. So they say it was to keep down money laundering. You think about it, folks. 10 $100 bills makes $1,000, right? That's no big deal to conceal or hide. That wasn't the reason they got rid of the $1,000 bill. Okay, there are bigger brains than mine that are working on that. But anyway, it's going to be exciting to see, because Trump is going to get back in if nothing happens to him. But whatever the plan for our country is going to be, our financial system, okay, our judicial system, our medical system, all that stuff, there are already plans drawn out to get away from as far as the medical system goes, the Rockefeller system, okay, as far as the financial system go, to get away from the central banks and the Reserve Bank. That's going to be gone. That's going to be history. We're going to be back on precious metals. Our education system is going to be based on facts and history, accurate history. Our school systems are going to be changed. All that stuff is played out. I know in my last broadcast, I did bring up some worrisome things where it was rumored to have been said by Trump, we'll save it for the next guy. All right. And my little flight of fancy about the Simpsons and their cartoon of him in a coffin. So we don't know what's going to happen, but we know something's got to happen, and that this movement is not going to be stopped, and it's going to grow. That's right, Miss Minderstew. They worship the sun god, just like many other pagan religions from Mesoamerica all the way down to the Sumerians all around the world, where they engaged in human, okay, their sacrifices weren't self-sacrifices, I'll put it that way. So, anyway, folks, I showed that picture of Clinton, which I said he was being publicly shamed. And they were making him wear pink shoes and going out in public and being ignored. I want to tell the real story about Bill Clinton, and I'm running out of time tonight. But it's to dust off our memories, okay, so we can talk to these normies that are coming around. Just remember, though, that pep talk by Deion Sanders. We're getting to the point where we don't care about what the opposition is thinking. We're at a point in our society right now where if people are not questioning the status quo and at least making a good faith effort to come out to find out where we're coming from now, the chances of them being anything other than like something out of a zombie movie, walking along vacant and brainless and just trying to sustain their own lunatic ideology, we don't need to worry about them. That they're going to end up where they're going to end up, and they're not coming along for the ride. Too bad. Like I said in the past many times, there came a time when Noah had to just shut the door and let it go. No matter how they beat and banged on the outside of the hull, that was it. So we're getting to that point. But to me, it is exciting, and I'm bringing the final thing I bring up. I always think I'm going to cover 10 times more than I do, but Clandestine put out something that seemed a little negative. Now he has put out a lot of stuff about the biolabs in Ukraine, a lot of evidence about what's going on. How are we ever going to calculate the harm that has been done by this PSYOP by Dr. Fauci as one of the main players, one of many main players on the biggest PSYOP, next to the attempted destruction of Trump's reputation and by proxy the reputation of people that support Trump. Those are the two biggest PSYOPs that the corrupt media, remember I call it corrupt now, and that's what Mr. T said. Those are the two biggest PSYOPs, okay? The fear that was engendered and the division in families and the destruction of Mr. T's reputation and our reputation. So how do you put a price on that? How do you remedy that? But anyway, Clandestine said, is anyone else just not interested? It feels like we're going through the motions. The line in the sand has already been drawn. It's Trump and the people versus Biden and the deep state. Everything between now and November 24th is to wake up the stragglers. Gonna be a long 14 months. Well, I look at it differently. We're going to be watching the greatest show on earth. The best is yet to come. If you're not energized and excited about what happened after that mugshot, how people 12 months ago, or worse yet, 2 years ago, if kinetic action had been taken, these same people who are jumping on board with light in their eyes, with a spring in their step, a snap of their finger, like, I get it now, those people would have been our enemies, irrevocably divided if we'd have done something 2 years ago. 2 years ago, 24 months, less than that. But now, watching them come aboard, in the future, watching them ask questions, not only that, watching them do their own digging and come up with answers and set their communities on fire with intelligent discussion and discovering how horrible this whole thing has been. When they sit down and see how many children have been led astray, who the causes are. I had a short clip of Malcolm X saying the most dangerous thing is a white liberal to the black community. I'll play that the next time I do a picture show. I need to find a better clip of it. But I've heard that speech from him or that interview with him a long time ago. they come like a wolf. Oh, no, a fox. And you can't see their teeth, but their teeth are there. And they hide their intentions. It's very powerful. So we're starting to see these people wake up, because this isn't just another 4-year election. Last time around wasn't just another 4-year election. This is snapping people out of a stupor, out of a hopeless funk, okay? F-U-N-K, funk, where they have been on a treadmill. And many people spent their whole lives on this monotonous hamster wheel of life that was unrewarding, with little hope of getting off that hamster wheel. And as Mr. T said, that didn't exist in the 1890s and early 1900s. So with that in mind, folks, look forward to the coming days, weeks, and months. You're witnessing a great awakening. And very few people in the course of history have ever witnessed or ever will witness the spiritual reawakening, the return to reason and logic that we're going to witness. And unfortunately, we're going to watch people behave in self-destructive ways. We're going to see people descend into a self-induced madness because they refuse to put 2 and 2 together. And that is just a part of life. Remember Lot's wife turning around and looking and turning into a pillar of salt. You can't save every fallen robin. But we're here. We're not leaving. Okay? Nothing can stop what? What? We know what. What is coming. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. I don't know when I'll be broadcasting again, probably tomorrow night. Maybe I'll do a picture show. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. So you'll know when I go live. Hit the notification bell so you can be part of the chats. And I want to thank everybody that's helped me out with buying me a coffee. I really appreciate it. Let me see. Just checking the chats real quick. Lori, you got a bunch of old medical books. Well, probably got some good advice in there. Ha ha ha. Yeah, Jerry Lee said, my narrative is over. Well, I still got a lot of stuff to talk about, but I can't go over too much of an hour. It's a long story, but I appreciate Pappy Chewberry for helping out tonight, sponsor the program, and Norm the other night for helping me out, and people throughout the week that helped me. Tennessee helped me out. Tennessee Ridge Runner, Kirsten, Jax, Gary, Mary, Love to Garden, Miss Mendersu helped me out last week. I appreciate it, folks. So anyway, thank you all for spending your precious time with me, and I hope we get together soon. I'm looking forward to doing a broadcast very soon, probably tomorrow night. So you all have a great weekend, and I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.